Peace and blessings, y'all. This is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter, and today I got my cousin online, Princeton Clark. How you doing, family?
Good, brother. How you doing, man? Good to see you, man.
Man, it's good to see you. Hey, you already know how it is. So, before we move too far, share who you are and what you do with the people.
My name is Princeton Clark. I am a self-mastery expert, author, coach, writer. You name it, I do it. If I can create impact and create love in the space of helping people evolve their lives to be the best version of them, I'm all for it.
My man, love everything you're doing, and I do want to tell you personally, like I'm proud of you. Knowing what I know about you, the people don't know about you, don't know your backstory. I do, and I'm grateful to be able to do this interview with you. So before we move too far, I think you say you have two books, one on the way. Tell me about the first one and your inspiration behind it.
Okay, so my first book was Awakening Your Inner Master, The Journey of Self-Mastery. And that book came about when I was rebranding my business. At this point, I've been coaching and speaking for probably about, I want to say 15 years before deciding, okay, I want to make a shift now because I felt like I'd evolved. And this phrase, evolved mastery, just came to me. And I said, you know what? That's where I want to transition my brand because it had been Princeton Clark coaching for so long. And I said, you know what? I want to build a brand because brand is about impact. It's about feeling, and it has more roots to it. And so I said, in order for me to launch this brand, I have to write a new book to launch the brand off of. And I didn't have to, but I said, if I want to do this, I want to do it right because people aren't going to be familiar with the new brand. So I need to give them something that encompasses what this brand represents. So Awakening Your Inner Master, The Journey of Self-Mastery, is all about coming back to self. My space of expertise is self-mastery, mind, body, soul, so that you can become the fullest version of yourself, power, potential, purpose, completely unlocked. So this book was based on what I call the three foundational stones of self-mastery: the mind, the body, and the soul. Because you always hear people say, you got to get in alignment with your mind, body, and soul. But a lot of people are like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean to get into alignment with your mind, body, and soul? And for me, I said, I want to make it clear because the way that I teach mindset is completely different from most people. Because typically, if you say, mindset, you're going to think the brain. But I say, no, the brain is just a computer system. It's been running programs. It's been programmed from the time that you were born up to this point. But if I say I am thinking, it's not my brain saying I am thinking. It's a spiritual awareness that thought is happening, realizing that thought. And so from that space of understanding mindset, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are not your programs. You are the power that gives power to those thoughts and programs. Just like me sitting in front of this computer right now, I tell this computer what to do, and it won't do any more than what I tell it to do or what I give it power to run. So mindset, when I talk about the mind portion of mind, body, and soul, it's coming back to a state of awareness of your divine power, your creative prowess to ignite passion through the fluidity of thought, being able to move out what doesn't serve you to now take in what does and to give that power. And then it goes into body and soul. And, it's a whole deep, different level because body, I talk about how we're tuning into everything, and we got to learn to be sensitive again. We got to learn to just be more discerning again. We got to learn to see what we're giving our power. And you got to be mindful of the things that you're giving your energy to. Your body is like a giant tuning fork. And a lot of the times we don't realize that just like when you go to a different space or to an event, if the vibe is low, you'll leave. You could have been in a great perspective or a great attitude, great vibe prior to going there, but you leave and all of a sudden you're like, why do I feel like this? Or you hear a song or you get some. And so everything that you're giving your energy to affects you. And so what I realized was in order to create a shift physically, I first had to become aware of what was happening consciously so that I could change the programming and then shift what I gave my energy to, what I tuned my life into, what I tuned my ears into, what I tuned my eyes into, so on and so forth. And then, of course, soul, I say that's the thread of all life. It's connecting to you to everything. It's what brings in your connection to life. And so in this book, I break down, and that's just kind of in a nutshell, but it's much deeper than that. In this book, I break down mind, body, and soul, the three foundational stones, because if you are out of alignment in any one of those areas, it's going to affect some other area of your life, be it relationships, business, emotional state, physical state, spiritual state. It's going to affect you. And so that's ultimately what that book is about. And then my second book
When you
is
jump into your second book,
yeah, yeah.
what I do want to piggyback off is the consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to tell people, and it's kind of basically what your book is explaining. You can move about aimlessly, but when you gain consciousness of yourself, because this is
Mm-hmm.
basically what the mind, body, the spirit is especially the way you broke down the state of the mind. Your
Mm-hmm.
brain is always being fed by society, by the world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when you come consciousness in, or conscious in what you want to take in,
Mm-hmm.
how you may say, look, I don't need that, I rather prefer this. It's almost like eating. What are you
Mm-hmm.
eating? Are you eating what the world feeds you, which would be McDonald's, all the trash of the world, or are you going and getting the proper foods and nourishments that could feed your body? This is how you feed this mind. And this is how you take power, as you just said, and apply the power that you do have over your life to take control of your life. Or
Mm-hmm.
as Yahshua said, be not of the world, you're not of the world, but you are in the world. You
Right.
got to understand that there's a power that you have, and you got to learn how to do it. So your second book.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. You have to tap into that essence of what you are before I jump into the second book, because a lot of people, they're lost in who they are, not what they don't understand what they are. And so this book kind of takes you on a journey, not kind of, it takes you on a journey to unlocking what you are and then how to use what you are through who you are. And so that was the first book. And then the second book is a decade anthology. So it's 8 to 10 of my writings from 2011 to 2012. So it's broken up into years, not chapters.
Okay.
And it's called Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth. And it's not about me. It's about the warrior of love in you, your spirit speaking to you every single day, a truth that's specifically for you, that small, still voice. And so that book are a series of writings on getting back to love, how that applies to business, how that applies to relationships. And it's just a sum of all my writings for a span of 10 years, 8 to 10 writings per year. And it's one of those books that you literally can open up to any page at any given time, and it's going to give you nuggets.
Mhm. What's the inspiration behind it?
The inspiration behind that was mostly my audience, man. After speaking and coaching for years, and I would always write stuff online, and people would always say, man, like this needs to be in a book. And after hearing that for so long, I'd said it for 3-4 years. Okay, I'm going to go back through all my social media and I'm going to compile all of my writings from as long as I wrote up to that point. And so I didn't do it. And that book was actually a gift to me from my daughter's mom for my 41st birthday. She went back through my social media because I said, babe, I don't have time to do it. So she went back and she basically found all the writings, she compiled them. And what was beautiful about it, going back to the small, still voice, is the consistency of the message and how it interwove through my life, through business, through relationships, through my mindset, at my emotional state, all of that. And it was a book. And what that made me think about was living epistle meant to be read of by all men.
Come on now.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And so that really, I didn't realize it until the book was done, that this is basically, it's not so much a story about me because it's not about you anyway. It's about the message
Hmm.
of you and the message that's coming through you. And so Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth is all about the fact that in you, there is a divine spirit that's speaking a divine truth to you. And if you can just slow down, get out of the noisy world and just listen, the messages are there and the messages are universal. You just got to get quiet enough to hear it.
And you can inspire and impact the people, kind of like Yahshua or Christ for those who call him such. Uh, it wasn't the being, it was the message that the
Mm-hmm.
Father sent him to give or relay to the people. And as the message still resonates today, so shall yours in the future. Your
Mm-hmm.
message resonates way further than you could ever think or imagine. Think about the way you just said that it woven through just the parts, the different participles of it into now. and it became a
Hmm.
book. And you didn't set this up to be such, but the message was so continuous. The message
Hmm.
was so strong that it flowed into the way that it was supposed to be. You don't
Right.
when things are meant to be, you don't have to put them together. They work together perfectly.
Right.
And I don't know if I asked this, but what was the inspiration behind the first book?
The inspiration behind the first book, yeah, it was me starting a new brand, and I really wanted to be able to break down that mind, body, and soul, the three foundational stones. What does it mean? Because Evolved Mastery, when I launched the brand, it was all about self mastery. But in order to master self, you must first become aware of the tools that self has and what's limiting you from shining through in your life. Mind, body, and soul. What are you giving your energy to? What are you giving your focus to? What are you giving your divine power to? And how is that influencing or keeping you from being as influential in your life as you have the potential to be? And so that book was basically just given to me. I wrote 10,000 words of that book the first night, and I never wrote chapters. I didn't have an outline or nothing. I initially, how that book came was, I wasn't planning on writing a book. I just wanted to write an ebook so that I could have something to promote to launch the new brand. And the first night I sat down, I wrote over 10,000 words in that book. And I knew it wasn't just going to be an ebook. And literally every chapter, every subheading, the entire introduction, everything just flowed from beginning to end. So it wasn't broken up. And then I was like, let me go back and do the introduction now. The only thing I had to go back and do in the beginning was simply the acknowledgments. But the book itself, from introduction to end, basically just came through me, inspired, and I just wrote it as it came. And I probably, in hours, it probably took me 3 days to write it, but it took me over the course of, I'd say, 2 weeks to get it done in that time.
Yo, phenomenal. Like I
Mhm.
said, me knowing who you are, and even though I was in prison for a long stint of your growth, your journey as becoming the inspirational speaker. I don't like to use motivation because
Right.
motivation is a person who's trying to crank you up, and you don't have to crank people up.
Hmm.
You're an inspiration of itself. As you said, you're an epistle read by all men. They see themselves, whether it's man or female, they can see themselves in you,
Hmm.
in your story. And what happens is they become inspired to be their best self. So
Right.
just me knowing you, knowing where you've come from, knowing where you're at, I tip my hat to you. And I am grateful for you, grateful for the things that you're doing and the people that you are inspiring. You're dropping seeds all over the world for those trees to grow and produce more seeds that will do the same thing. And that's what life is about. It's about
Right.
being impactful, about being inspirational, because this is what we are called to do, is be
Hmm.
the light of the world, to
Yep.
remove the darkness that the world have, but the darkness that's inside people's lives that they don't know how to remove. And
Hmm.
from your inspiration and your words and telling where you have come from, that inspires people to know that they too have a light inside them.
Hmm.
And that's
100.
what I am grateful for you for.
I'm
Uh,
grateful for
uh,
you too, man. We were some knuckleheads. For everybody that don't really know, like, we were some knuckleheads. We were two different types of knuckleheads in different ways, but it's like we were just trying to find our way, man, and not having a lot of the right guidance. That's what happens. But it was all divinely. Yeah, but everybody don't know the story, but we came from that space, like I was saying, like we were some knuckleheads, man. But we were chosen, we were chosen to grow through what we got to grow through. I would say we don't go through anything, we grow through everything if we choose.
if you choose.
All are called, but
But
few
what
accept the
choice?
call of the chosen. And
And
so that's what
that's
we've
a
done,
choice.
brother.
That's a choice that people have to make. When you
Hmm.
make the choice to accept the call, then everybody else get to see the light that's within, or God that's within us. I like to
Hmm.
tell everybody God ain't outside of us. He's within inside of us. And that's what makes the church. That's what makes the people. But you got to learn how to focus this thing and put it into perspective.
Yes, sir.
So if you will, y'all please go and get his books. He's about to share with us where we can find them, your platforms. I want to make sure that they know where they can get this material because it's enlightening and is important for their growth. And then I want you to drop a word of wisdom for them.
All right, all right. So both of my books are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So if you go to Amazon, again, it's Awakening Your Inner Master, The Journey of Self-Mastery, and you have Warrior of Love, Speaker of Truth. Both of those are on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I will be updating my link on my Instagram and my social, but the new website is going to be PrincetonClark.com. It's down right now because I'm updating it, but you will also be able to find it there. So PrincetonClark.com. And then, of course, follow me on social media at Princeton Clark.
And a word of wisdom.
All I can say is you get this one life. Every day you wake up, you get a chance and a choice. 2 C's. What you do with it is up to you. Nothing happens by mistake. Every day you wake up, you are the divine creator choosing to manifest or not manifest that vision, that dream. And the thing about vision is you will never receive a vision that provision is not available for. Your spirit will not even fathom the possibility of that vision if it's not for you. So if you got a vision right now, you got something that's been burning in your heart, you got something that's come to you, that's been inspiring you, saying it's time for you to take that step. I want you to believe 100% that the version of you that you must become in order to manifest that vision is already in you. You are already it. You just must let go of the things that no longer serve you, the mindset, the heart set, the state of being that you've chosen to be in. It's time to level up and understand that you've been called for this. Your vision comes with provision. It's time to step into it.
Look, you heard it. It's time to step into it. Everything is already set for you. What's in the seed is in the tree. What's in the tree is in the seed. You got to know that you got it in you. Look, thank you, cuz. This is Princeton Clark. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle. Remember, Black Authors Matter. Thank y'all.